down with Schalke's Steve and Spraddle.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am joined by Steve and Spraddle. Congratulations on a very convincing game to win. Spraddle, let's start from your point of view in terms of how game 2 was so much more convincing than game 1, for example.
I think game 1 we took a lot of bad fights, especially one mid. Like we don't want a 5-on-5 really, but we went for it anyways when we just 1-for-1 and just picked them off with Rengar, and I think we had Rice. So and Shen, yeah. And Shen. So yes.
Are you very excited about that Shen, Steve?
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid blind pick, so I went for it that game.
Expand a little bit on the Rise for me. Talking about, we're seeing him come into play now. We didn't see him last week. Is this something that just popped up in scrims or from solo queue?
Well, at first when like a new champion gets reworked or something, you don't really know how to play him. You don't know if it's broken or really underpowered. And people just had to figure him out a bit. We still don't know if it's super strong or what, but like, wait, Rise lost both games,
yep.
Right? Okay,
yep.
So.
Yeah, like it got enabled pretty late last week as well. So I don't think people had time to pick it up and figure out when it's good or not. So yeah, I think that was a factor as well. We see it this week instead.
Yeah, it's very exciting to actually see a new champion on the LCS stage. Let's step away from today's results because now we're on the second last day of the regular split. We know the top 6 teams that are going to playoffs. Unfortunately, Schalke is not one of them. Spraddle, the last bunch of games has been rough. You've picked up 5 wins and 13 losses. Why was the second half of the split so much weaker than the first half?
I think we had a rough patch like week 4 in, something like that. We didn't read the patch well at all. Like we were 1 week behind, 2 weeks behind, so we were just losing games, and we just lost a lot of like
momentum and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. So we just had to kind of pick it up, and I think we have a better read on the meta for this weekend. I hope so. We have to win versus Vitality. Tomorrow is going to be an important game. So, but yeah, it's been a rougher last weeks.
Yeah, it definitely has been. Steve, Schalke, took the spot of Elements. Elements placed 7th, 3 splits in a row. Spring and summer last year, spring this year. You're now in the battle again for that curse. How important is it to you and the team to beat Vitality tomorrow?
Well, we don't want to end up in the promotion tournament, so we're going to try our hardest to beat them tomorrow. But isn't there a chance that we can still make playoffs? Like if one of the teams loses, I don't know.
Unfortunately not. I can confirm because of some of the other results and how teams have picked up points, the top 6 are locked. Unicorns and H2K joined the top 6. If this is obviously you just hearing that, what goes through your mind, knowing now it is a fact?
Well, we're going to give everything tomorrow to play for 7th place, basically.
Yeah, it's very, very tough. Step back for a second. Have you had the opportunity to play against any of the challenger teams like Misfits? Looking forward to promotion. We know that Origin will be in the promotion tournament. That is guaranteed because either you or Vitality will be taking 7th tomorrow. So Spraddle, what is that like for either yourselves, Vitality, Origin, looking forward, knowing that that's coming next week?
Well, I think Misfits is definitely a strong team. We have screened them like once recently. We have played 2 games. It was kind of mad. We didn't like learn a lot from it, to be honest, and we didn't see if they're strong or not. But I think they're a pretty strong team. Like they're really good individual team players on all 5 of them. So I think one team might actually get knocked out of the LCS, and they take a spot here.
Wow, that's tough words. One last question here to Steve. Talking about the matchups coming into the week, knowing that Vitality, your closest opposition, was that where your preparation was going to be focused more on day 2, or do you just focus primarily on your own team's performance coming into the week?
Yeah, we focused on both games, both series. I mean, we really wanted the 2-0, I mean like 4-0, because if we did that, we might have a chance to go playoffs. But yeah, right now we just focus on next game. I guess we didn't focus that much on Vitality, you know, but.
Yeah, just everything, both teams. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, guys, thank you so much for taking the time. Congratulations, Arlings, picking up the point there, and best of luck tomorrow against Vitality.
Thank you.
We're going to head back over to the casters to wrap up and announce our player of the game.
Dank. Thanks, Trevor. Of course, before we get into it literally says on the prompter, Dank.
I was about to say, it's not really the time to say Dank. It was a good interview. Emotional, obviously.
I think you can see in their eyes, I mean, a lot of that, they did not know that they were out of running contention for playoffs.
Simply they cannot get enough 2-0 wins now to even tie the Unicorns of Love. So Unicorns will always win out in a potential tiebreaker, is what I mean. So therefore they cannot make playoffs. As they talked about, though, it's all about making number 7 now. Honestly, the game tomorrow against Vitality is so important. It's insane because loser will play promotion tournament, and it is not fun.
And really, I think you can't let your spirits drop, despite the fact that knowing you're out of playoff contention. You have to stay focused, because the stakes continue to raise tomorrow, and it may be stakes
they
for
will be
something
focused.
different.
Don't worry. They will definitely be focused
Yeah.
for the game tomorrow.
Well, as we look back on our second game, of course, we have to award a player of the game. We're going to give this one over to Steve. Some absolutely fantastic Gnar engages at the most crucial moments in the game, really won his team the day.
Held his own in the one-on-one, and then, yeah, as you said, big team fighting ultis from the Gnar. Allowed Schalke to win some of these mid-game fights, and of course win the game. And yeah, it's weird now. We're done here. You know, you and me, we're done on this stream. And now we have to look at tomorrow's games, where a lot of teams don't play for a whole lot, or some of them play for a little bit of in terms of seeding. And then we just have like this Schalke team now who's just almost done. You know, they can't play for playoffs. It's weird. We've been building that up for the entire split, and now it's like, do not drop down to promotion tournament. That's it.
Yeah.
It's all we play for.
Before we toss things over to you, LCS1, let's take one last look through that final game. Okay. For those of you who are just joining us, for those of you who want to catch up on what exactly
You're too late.
in Schalke versus Giants. Of course, a 1-1 in the end. A lot of this started at the mid lane. 33 minutes, a 3-for-1 exchange in favor of Schalke.
Yeah, it's where we see a great flank coming in, getting on to Sunstar with no flash. And this is really the key thing for Schalke, was play around Sunstar not having flash. And just dive in with everything you got. It's one of the great things about Lucian. Again, the mobility offers, diving in. They win the fight, gave them a Baron, allowed them to win the game. Steve is like joining in the end. He's like, guys, I want to join, and he's too late.
Yeah, it's a fancy footwork. Excellent to see here. But moving forward, of course, as the game went on, things continued to go in the favor of Schalke, and one final aggressive team fight really won them the day. A quadra kill coming in on the Vladimir. Fox.
I feel like we're building up the Vladimir
out.
here.
The Vladimir's hype.
Yeah, both team fights were massive for him. Another engage here from Schalke, and at this point, it's so hard for Giants to really win because they're so far down in gold. And now Vladimir is just running wild with Ghost, with Flash, gets into the back line. Not a whole lot you can do.
So while Schalke have to focus on their series ahead of them tomorrow, we didn't talk as much about Giants, of course, still potentially fighting for that seeding. What do you think they need to adapt to come in stronger in tomorrow's match?
It's hard to say just without rewatching the games. I felt like this game here from Giants, you can look at the draft, and we have these drafts now where teams have a lot of scaling, but again, they sacrifice early game. That was risky from Giants while they played it well, and I think, honestly, when they rewatch this game, they're going to look at that one play in the mid lane around, pushing out mid for Infernal Drake, but had no flash on Sunstar, and be like, that was stupid. If we didn't do that, this game would have been completely different. It could have been a 2-0 Giants then, and that would kind of change everything. So I don't think they're going to necessarily look at making tons of changes. And again, you play tomorrow, you get a 2-0, and Fnatic loses 0-2. You actually get third place. That's all that matters now for Giants. And if you don't win 2-0, you're still locked in playoffs. You're still fourth place, at least. So it's been a great season or success for Giants, almost no matter what happens tomorrow.
Absolutely. And of course, as we start to wrap up here, got to keep in mind there are another two teams battling it out right now on EU LCS for one seeding, UOL and H2K, and they are in their first few minutes of the early game. So we'll head